we are ranking the NFL divisions, and the top two both reside in the AFC, and one of them is the North, where the Baltimore Ravens reside. We'll talk about that on Locked On NFL.
The barbershop is open and Tony Wiggins has a chair for you. He's ready with some real NFL talk. The local experts of Locked On bring their expertise, and Wiggy is ready with his clippers and shears. Sit down and enjoy. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your team every day here on Locked On NFL. We thank you for making us your first listen. And we got a doozy of a show for you. And I'm glad I got a doozy of a running mate, my man David Harrison from Locked On Commanders. He's going to sit in here with me today, as he always does in the middle of the week. And we're going to talk about the top teams, the top divisions, rather, in the National Football League. And we're going to tell you why. Buckle your seatbelt. Buckle your seatbelt, because we are your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. If you're new here, we're going to give you a reason to stick around and come back and see us. Wherever you watch your podcast, also, make sure you check out that location so you do not miss an episode like the one today that is sponsored and brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Shout out to the everydayers once again. David, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to mention 6 teams, 6 divisions, right? 6 divisions, but we have 8. The problem is 2 of them, one of them I cover in the AFC South, and another one that is the NFC South. We're going to tell you right now, they're number 7 and number 8. Probably since Tampa is in the NFC South, they're number 7. The AFC South is number 8. But we're going to go where all the suspense are. And this is how we're going to end up. I guess, because I know everybody ain't going to believe it. That's how we'll end up. Surprise, surprise. There's a reason why I said that twice. We're going to talk about that too. But we're going to start at the very top, where there is a surprise, in my opinion, and it is debatable. And I'm expecting everyone's fangs to come popping out, because right away I'm going to go to the player that I believe, the team that I believe sits atop the league in the division. His division is the number 1 division in the National Football League. Check it out.
It is about time Lamar Jackson gets some recognition for his 2024 season. I'm Kevin Ostreicher, the host of Locked On Ravens. Lamar Jackson is the best player in the NFL and is the top-ranked player in the NFL for a multitude of different reasons. Lamar's 2024 included 5,000 total yards. He also had 41 touchdowns through the air compared to just 4 interceptions. And if you want to include his 4 rushing touchdowns, it puts him at 45 total touchdowns. He was the first player in NFL history to have over 4,000 passing yards and over 900 rushing yards. And he also...
Listen, I know that was about Lamar Jackson. It's not about him. It's not about the Baltimore Ravens. It is about the AFC North. In my opinion, it was a tie, but I broke it based on our top 100 list. They made Lamar Jackson number 1, so guess what? We're going to say Baltimore resides in the best division in football. Go ahead and start disagreeing right now.
Yeah, listen, no disrespect to Lamar Jackson. I can't remember if I made Lamar Jackson my number 1 player in the NFL, Locked On NFL top 100, but I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to sit here and staunchly disagree with it. But like you just said, it's a division. It's not a player. It's not just because you have the best player in the NFL doesn't mean you're the best division in the NFL. It takes more than that. The reason the AFC North is the best division in the NFL is because it has 2 solid, strong MVP candidates playing the most important position in the game. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. It starts with those 2 guys. And look, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers stan. In fact, we've had a lot of fun conversations about Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of seasons, and I've been on the darker side of those conversations a lot of times, sending some shots. But when we look at the full body of work for Aaron Rodgers, does Aaron Rodgers deserve a little bit of benefit of the doubt that he is going to be a better version of himself this season than he was last season with the New York Jets? The year before that was injury, so we kind of have to put that aside, right? I think he's built up enough goodwill as far as him as a player to be considered a better quarterback than maybe we last saw with the New York Jets. So if you add Aaron Rodgers in the mix, the AFC West, look, you got Patrick Mahomes, arguably one of the best players in the NFL, certainly a Chiefs fan, a Ravens fan could go rounds at the bar talking about which one is the best player in the NFL. The Bills guy across the street is going to want to come over and have that conversation too. But Justin Herbert has not delivered on a lot of the hype that he got after his rookie season. Bo Nix, good, but he's not there yet, right? And nor should he be. He's a second-year quarterback, hasn't even played in his second season. And Geno Smith, all right, shouldn't have written him off. I'll admit I was one of the people who wrote him off a long time ago, but he's not in that echelon that we're going to if you ask me, do I want Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith? If we put personalities aside, it's going to be a tough decision, right? So the fact that the AFC North has two legitimate MVP candidates in their division sets them apart from the AFC West, in my opinion.
And another team in Pittsburgh that hasn't had a losing record, and I can't. I probably didn't even have gray hair the last time they had a losing record. So, yeah, Pittsburgh's got to be there, the third team. David, I'm gonna tell you something. With Cleveland, they're the worst team. They're the worst organization. This is how strongly I feel about the AFC North. They even got Cleveland, and that's still not knocking them down enough. So
we didn't even talk about Cleveland.
That's why.
Sanders.
Yeah, that's why I feel the way I feel. But you mentioned the AFC West. They're the number 2 team. A lot of that has to do with those coaches. All of them have either won a Super Bowl or people believe they're capable of doing it. But that's before. I still gave them the grace, though, because of that quarterback and the fact that they just keep winning. Listen to this.
I mean, there is definitely, between Patrick and Andy Reid talking about the fact that they want to be pushing the ball more downfield. And it's not simply just taking more shots. It's not about getting the deep ball back. I mean, Chiefs would love to have that, but they want to get away from what last year turned into, and really maybe the last couple of seasons turned into, which has been, Mahomes being more game manager. And
there you go. They got all their weapons back. They're trying to get back to it. By the way, it's funny when you hear somebody say what somebody wants to get back to it, and they've been to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, and they've won 3 of them. And we can't, just like I get on Cleveland and didn't want to drag the whole North down, I can't just forget about the Raiders, no matter how optimistic I am about what they're doing, and just forget about them just because Pete Carroll showed up and elevate them. So, yeah, it was hard. I was tied right before we started the show. I gave the advantage to the North. What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, look, Patrick Mahomes, right? You saw with the Cleveland Browns. They're not bad enough to drag the entire AFC North down with them. The Kansas City Chiefs are good enough and have produced well enough to elevate a lot of the AFC West for the division. They do a lot of heavy lifting for this division. Again, Justin Herbert, even though I kind of knock how much hype he's had and hasn't delivered on all that stuff, that's not really his fault. He is not responsible for his own hype, right? He's still a very good quarterback. I don't want to take that away from him. I still think Coach Harbaugh certainly has some good things going forward there. Sean Payton and Bo Nix, what they did in year 1 surprised a lot of people. If they can build on that in year 2, they could be a team that surprises a lot of people. And yeah, I think the Raiders, last year we spent a lot of time talking about who is the 2024 Houston Texans, right? The Texans came out of nowhere, surprised everybody with CJ Stroud, rookie quarterback, all this stuff. Who is going to be the 2024 Houston Texans was the conversation last year. This year, it's who's going to be the 2025 Commanders. Every year, we're looking for that next team that's going to shock everybody. My pick, if there is one, it's the Raiders. Geno Smith, solid veteran quarterback. Pete Carroll brings legitimacy to that team automatically. You have one of the best defenders in the league in Max Crosby, and they've done some good things via free agency in the draft to build that team. I think the Raiders could be a very, very good team this year. So top to bottom, the AFC West, they don't have a Browns on their roster. It's just they also don't have the multitude of MVP candidates like the AFC North does. So the AFC West, very, very close second in my book as well.
No doubt about it. Now, we're going to get to the tiebreaker. David, that's your nickname for the day. You are the tiebreaker, okay? I'm gonna call you the tiebreaker because between the NFC East and NFC North, I really just don't know. I got a feeling you think you know, though, and we're going to let you spill all of that foolishness out because I remember the things that you were saying to Peter Bukowski and the rest of those dudes last year. We're going to let you do your thing, and I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to do it just a second here on Locked On NFL. Brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing. I was watching tennis, WNBA, and all that stuff, man. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the greens, or high stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the action while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. And then you can go out there and join them with a pocket full of money. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first team wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started. Moving and grooving while we're ranking these divisions, I am at a conundrum, and I'm going to let my man David Harrison decide who's going to be number 3. And last week we had a show where he kept mentioning all of this stuff about the Commanders, and we laughed and joked that he wasn't going to be biased. Of course he ain't going to be biased, because now if he tries to prop up his Commanders, he's going to have to prop up his enemies right along with him. David, first of all, do you disagree that number 3 and number 4 are between these two teams?
I have the NFC North and NFC East at 3 and 4, yes, and I have them in that exact order. I have the NFC North number 3.
No, you do not.
I do. I have the NFC North number 3, and I have the NFC East number 4. And I'm going to tell you why. So I've done a lot of talking about the Detroit Lions, and look, they lost both their coordinators. That's not nothing. That could be very, very significant. However, let's not forget, these are NFL coordinators for a reason. These are guys who are in the NFL for a reason. Dan Campbell didn't just throw darts at a wall and say, okay, you'll be my new coordinator. Like, he picked them, right? He picked them for a reason. And so far, Dan Campbell has been pretty good at picking the right people for what he needs, right? Like, we coming in as a head coach, he kept some of his staff that he inherited in the Lions. He brought in some new guys. They've all worked out pretty well, right? The Lions went out, they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. Everybody was like, there's only one running back getting drafted in the first round that year. The Lions said, no, y'all are wrong. There's going to be 2. We're going to take Jahmyr Gibbs as well. Jahmyr Gibbs has turned out to be pretty stinking good. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here. This is why they're ranked higher. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that he knows what he's doing when he's hiring these people. And if he knows what he's doing, what I'm not going to do is penalize the Lions for losing both their coordinators before I see that it's a big deal. Does that make sense? Like, I think it could be a big deal. If it turns out to be a big deal, I'm not necessarily going to be surprised, but I'm not going to punish them for it because I think it might happen. The Chicago Bears, they were a coaching disaster last year. Ben Johnson obviously knows his X's and O's. We'll see if he knows his Jimmys and Joes. They're still at the bottom of the division for me, but that's not a terrible team. That's not the worst roster you can have at the bottom of the division. Jordan Love, still a little bit of a question mark. I think it's okay if he's an average quarterback. The Packers just got to build around him, but the Packers won elite. I don't know if he's ever going to get there, but he's still a middle-of-the-road team, middle-of-the-road quarterback. Minnesota Vikings, man, if J.J. McCarthy was healthy last year, and if he was playing last year, I would have told you that J.J. McCarthy had the best situation of every rookie quarterback coming into the NFL because he has Justin Jefferson. He's got more weapons. He's got a good running back, not great, but good running back, and a very solid defense. He still has all those things this year as he's entering his second season, maybe, looking to be the starting quarterback there. So across the NFC North, they're very solid. Like, on offense, on defense, there's not a terrible units. The Bears had some terrible moments, 10-game losing streak, got it, but I put a lot of that at the feet of the coaches. The NFC East.
Before you get to them, let's hear from Locked On Lions real quick, because I think you're going to have a lot of things to say about this clip I'll play for the NFC East in just a second. But listen to Locked On Lions.
They all feel like they have something to prove. Being in the city of Detroit, we're so hungry for a championship, and we've gotten so close. We've gotten a little taste of getting there, on our way there, having season best 15 wins last year. So I hope this is the year. I'm one of those positive, optimistic fans. I'm not the one that's going to say, we're going to have a crap year because we've lost key people, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, amongst others. You still have the same team all together with the same foundation. So I think this is the year, but the window's getting shorter.
So, I love that point. The point is the Lions had something really, really interesting happen. The Lions were everybody's darling, kind of like the Golden State Warriors were when they finally rose up, because everybody was LeBron. They were LeBron fatigued, right? Yep. But then when they started winning, people started hating them too. So Detroit started winning. They're the little engine that everybody's always rooting for, because we watch them on Thanksgiving. And then when they start beating people's brains out, they happen to become the ones with the bullseye on their back. Now, with this 2 years of that, now guess what you get? Nobody's really expecting them to they're going to still come out there and bully people. Trust me. But at least the expectations have kind of balanced out a little bit. With Philly, once they won, my man Lou DiBiase up at Locked On Eagles, he kind of went crazy with everything. So we did the top 100. We did our Locked On top 100, and I don't think Louis is too happy about it. Listen.
I think we have to start putting more respect on the name of Jalen Hurts. I'm Louis DiBiase, host of the Locked On Eagles podcast. Jalen Hurts coming in at number 46 on our Locked On NFL Top 100 list. I think that's way too low for the Super Bowl MVP who has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. I think he's kind of getting punished for having such a star-studded offense that obviously takes a lot of the load off his plate, but we have to add context to what Jalen Hurts has done. Eventually, on-field results have to matter. This guy has shown an elite ceiling. He was an MVP runner-up in 2022 when the Chiefs dared him to beat them in the Super Bowl. When they took out Saquon Barkley, he threw for over 200 yards, had 3 touchdowns, including 2 through the air. Jalen steps up when the games matter the most, like the NFC Championship, like the Super Bowl. I think eventually that has to matter more than it does on this list. I'm not even saying he's a top 4 quarterback, but number 46 I think is too low for the MVP of the Super Bowl.
All right, so let me put in context what he just said. And I'll use another NFC East team. What he just described was a dude, because you could argue that Jalen Hurts was an MVP in 2 Super Bowls. One of them they won and the other one they lost. He was the best player in the Super Bowl that they lost against the Chiefs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That means he's a big game guy. He's a gamer. You know what I'm saying? There's certain people that do that, like Eli Manning. You see what I just did?
I mean, Eli Manning is not better than Tom Brady, but
he won 2 Super Bowls, didn't he?
Over.
And he did it in the clutch moments against the team that everyone thought was unbeatable. That is exactly what Jalen Hurts has done in those 2 Super Bowl performances. So we can't say that elevates him above all of these other people. But Lou's right to argue that. I'll put them right there. I'll let you decide. You said they're number 4. The NFC East is the 4th division. That's a big step up from just 2 years ago, me calling them the NFC least.
I mean, yeah, 100%, right? That's good context to that. Listen, I love Louis, man, and I get what you're trying to say here, but the Super Bowl is 1 game. All right. And we used to talk, I mean, you probably remember, like in the 90s, we used to talk about all the time, like Super Bowl MVPs used to be, there was a run of Super Bowl MVPs that always seemed like they were dudes on expiring contracts. Then they'd go get this fat contract somewhere else, and you would never hear from them ever again. Congratulations, Jalen Hurts. Great Super Bowl champion. Nobody's ever going to take that away from you. That does not make you one of the top quarterbacks in the National Football League, and it damn sure doesn't make you a top 30, top 25 player in the National Football League. If you want to know why Jalen Hurts is 46th on the NFL Top 100 this year, it's because his own team showed you that he is not one of those top guys. His own team tried to ride Jalen Hurts in the first 4 games of last season. And what happened? They got off to a very, very rough start. It was not looking good. People were talking about Nick Sirianni getting fired in season, all kinds of stuff. Week 5, Kellen Moore said, you know what? I got this running back over here, Saquon Barkley. I got this really good offensive line and a really good defense. We might just be able to run the clock, run the ball, and get out of here. And that's exactly what they did. Saquon Barkley should have been the MVP of the NFL last year because he carried that Philadelphia Eagles offense. That defense carried the Philadelphia Eagles team. And listen, you know, I know we talk about this all the time. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts don't play each other. All right. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are never playing football on the field at the same time. They do not play each other. The Philadelphia Eagles defense outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs defense as well. Absolutely. But let's not get into this Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Just like Eli Manning didn't outplay Tom Brady. Eli Manning outplayed the Patriots defense more than Tom Brady outplayed the Giants defense. That's what happened in those games. What happens in every football game is one quarterback outplays the opposing defense better than the other one, but they don't play against each other. So none of that holds water. Here's why the NFC East is number 4. Here's why the NFC North is above the NFC East, in my opinion. I told you, NFC North, solid teams all the way down to maybe the Chicago Bears. Well, at the bottom of the NFC East is the New York Giants. Really good defense, hugely suspect offense outside of Malik Neighbors. And I like their young running back. I love Cam Scatterboo, but he hasn't taken an NFL snap yet, so we're not going to give him any water to carry in this debate, right? Dallas Cowboys, right above them. suspect offense, even with Dak, even more suspect offense without Dak. We'll see what happens with Brian Schottenheimer. We'll see if Pickens can actually meld into this unit. If they can, they could be up on this list a little bit higher next offseason. But again, just like I'm not going to punish the Lions prematurely, I'm not going to reward the Cowboys prematurely. That defense, Micah Parsons, good. They got some other good players. A lot of times they're banged up. Overall, very inconsistent. Washington Commanders, electric quarterback. You got to do it a second year. It's hard to be good in the NFL for even one season. It's really hard to be good a second season. Let's see if you can do it for a second year. What's going on with Terry? We'll find out. We'll see what happens there. Rebuilt offensive line. Is it going to hold up? Is it not? I don't know. Neither do you. The defense, a lot of rotating pieces. I feel like the pass rush is going to drop off a little bit, but the run defense is going to get better. Is that enough to make the overall unit better? Again, we haven't seen. So there's a big question mark in a lot of levels for the Washington Commanders. Then you've got the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the Chiefs of the NFC East. They carry that entire division's water heavily. But behind the Eagles, you just have too many question marks that until we get to the season, until we start seeing this division actually play, we don't know what the actual answers are. We might think we know, but we don't know. Because of that, that's why the NFC East has to be behind the NFC North, and honestly, closer than I think a lot of people want to admit to the NFC West.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because we have in the first two, named the first two, they're both from the AFC. The next two, three and four, were both from the NFC. 5 and 6 is where we're going to have one from the NFC and one from the AFC. And you know, neither one of them are from the South. I'm going to let David tell us why the Rams can be the team that propels the NFC West over the AFC East. But then I'll say, no, they're not. And it's not because of the Bills. It's because of somebody else. I'll tell you who it is in just a second here on Locked On NFL. Man, listen, we've been going through these divisions, right? Trying to iron out who's the best divisions in football. So far, we have them ranked as AFC North, AFC West, NFC East. David, I'm going to let this clip speak for who I think is number 5.
I hate to say it, but we absolutely got it wrong. I'm Joe Marino, host of Locked On Bills, and Josh Allen deserved to be the number 1 quarterback and player on the top 100 list. Why? Well, no player in NFL history has produced more scoring than Josh Allen. Josh Allen averages the most touchdowns per game of any player in NFL history, and he's posted.
All right, we're going to stop right there because we talk about the Bills. The clips that you see about everybody being all upset and feeling disrespected because their guy wasn't high enough on the top 100 made by Locked On, you can check that out by going to Locked On Sports Today. We will have reaction shows all day. But the NFC East, the AFC East is 5th. We know about Buffalo. If we're doing it based on the top team, they'd have been 3rd, in my opinion. But the reason why I'm putting them there is for 2 reasons. As bad as I talk about the Miami Dolphins and not knowing what they are and who they are, play around with them and they'll beat you by 40 if you ain't careful, because they got the people to do it offensively. But those Patriots, and I know we haven't seen it yet, but I really like the way they did this thing in the offseason. I really think Mike Vrabel is another form of Mike Tomlin, where they're going to be so sound and tough and good enough that they are going to hang around at the very least in the middle of the pack and be a problem for people. And I actually think Drake May is pretty damn good. That's the reason. Those teams and the way I feel about them, despite the Jets being there, and I like what they did yesterday, I'm going to put them at number 5.
Yeah, I've got the NFC West at 5. The Buffalo Bills are better than every team in the NFC West. Josh Allen is better than most of the quarterbacks that are playing in divisions ranked ahead of his division, and I'm not going to deny that. And Joe Marino absolutely has a case to make for Josh Allen, being the number 1 player in the Locked On NFL Top 100 or any other Top 100 or Top 50 ranking going on out there. But the NFC West, look, again, San Francisco 49ers, I'm kind of looking at it as it's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. Like, they deserve the benefit of the doubt. We'll see how they come back this year. Brandon Ayuk is still injured. They don't got Debo anymore. So I don't really have a lot of confidence that the Niners are going to get back to being the Niners. But until it doesn't happen, again, so clearly I did these rankings based on what we know today, not what we think about tomorrow, right? The Arizona Cardinals, they're kind of just pesky enough to always be in the mix, but not dominant. The Seattle Seahawks, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit like, I don't know exactly what direction they're going to go into, but we'll see how that turns out. And then the Rams. I thought the Rams were a better team than people thought they were last year. They got DeVante Adams this year, who, in my opinion, DeVante Adams is the best wide receiver in the National Football League coming out of 2024, because you find me another receiver that could go through what he went through last year. Like, if you're not a Raiders fan or an AFC West team fan, tell me who the Raiders quarterbacks were last year. You probably can't. DeVante Adams played with those guys. Then he sat out to not play with those guys after that. Then he went and got the worst version of Aaron Rodgers we've ever seen. And the man still put up 1,000 yards receiving and still was scoring out of his mind. DeVante Adams, best receiver in the NFL today, in my opinion, coming out of 2024. He's with the Rams, Puka Nacua, all that stuff. I think the Rams are going to be very dangerous. Should have beaten the Eagles last year in the postseason. That would have been incredibly exciting. And I don't know what else would have happened from there. But obviously, coulda, woulda, shoulda, whatever. NFC West, that's why they get the key. Bro, the Bills, that's it. The Miami Dolphins, man, Tua Tagovailoa, availability is the most important ability, and he just hasn't been available. I feel bad for him, but he just hasn't been available. And when he came back last year, the Dolphins turned into a short passing game offense that completely contradicted their identity, left Tyreek Hill in no man's land, not able to produce because that's not his game at all. So I'm just wondering what the Dolphins are going to be this year.
I'm going to – yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got Ohio State helmets behind me.
Yeah.
I can't defend Justin Fields anymore as, you know, a future starting quarterback in the NFL. He's a placeholder. I put this out on X. The Jets are spending money like they know they're about to spend rookie quarterback money for the next 4 or 5 years after this season. That tells you something. And the Patriots, I have a lot of confidence like you do, but again, we haven't seen it yet. So until we see it, I can't give them early credit for it.
So with me, with the West, I don't know what Arizona is. 1 week I'm thinking, okay, I love Monty Austin for it, and they're getting in the right direction. Then the next week they lose a game, they have no business. I don't even know what Kyler Murray is. Yeah. All right. I have no idea what's going on in Seattle. So that's two things. And then I think and believe that the 49ers are going to take a step back. I got to keep reminding myself that the last 8 years, they've actually missed the playoffs half that time. We see them at their highs, but we somehow mask or make their lows like they're a chameleon or something. Like, it's like, wait a minute. Are they really that good? The Rams, though? Oh, man, check this out.
Absolutely. And just kind of going into Jared Verse, I mean, there's going to be a lot of expectations on him this season. I mean, he was already riding high off that defensive rookie of the year award that he won, and there's always going to be a lot of pressure when you win that award in year two. But I think what makes him so enticing and just so intriguing as a player is there's just so much room for improvement based on what we saw last year.
He's going to come back stronger, which will make him better. He's going to come back with additional tools in his toolbox that's going to make him harder to defend.
I love it. And they're right about the Rams. We've talked a lot about them, and we know what it's all about. So to kind of put a bow on this whole thing, y'all heard a lot about our top 100. It is out there. Make sure you go to Locked On Sports Today, subscribe, and listen to it. You will get reaction shows from the top 100. A little note about these divisions, and this is why you have to look at it from a divisional standpoint, especially in a division like the NFC East. Ain't no easy games. The Giants will give the Commanders the hardest time in the world. Ain't no easy games. Philly might go up to the Giants and lose on a fluke. Dallas will sit there and give you the hardest time in the world. And a lot of these divisions are like that, right? So we go, yeah, that's an easy game. I remember when Belichick and Miami, the Patriots would go down and lose to the Dolphins, or they'd struggle against the Bills. That's what makes divisions, all right? But there ain't no divisiveness among us, man, here on Locked On Podcast Network. Wherever you get your podcast, make sure you check them out each and every day here on our network. Those are our rankings for the division. For a lot of you that may be upset, that's all right. We get a chance to be proven wrong once the ball gets kicked off. Make sure you check us out. It is almost that time for us, dude. We are going to crank this thing up into high gear, and it's going to be all brakes, no gas for like the next 6 months. Make sure you lock in with Locked On. All right, man. See y'all later.